Did it work?
It worked. Awesome. Yeah, I tried to pull you up, but it wasn't. It was like it just kept saying, "My head's big." It just kept saying, "We can't pull her up." So.
Yeah, maybe because I wasn't on there or something.
That might have been why. So, you're headed off to work?
No, not till 10:30.
10:30? Oh, okay. Wow, that's brave.
Yeah. I didn't really have anything planned to talk about.
Neither did I. I was saying in my live about the fact that we're working on putting together a show for Soulogy, and it was going to be like a metaphysical musical chat.
Yep.
And I think I articulated it pretty well, but I can't now.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I didn't expect you to be catching it, but yeah. So we'll just be chatting about whatever kind of we're going through, what's coming through.
Yeah. Well, today.
Yeah.
I don't know. Today's been pretty easy. I've been kind of moving through the stuff, but
every day moving through the stuff. Yeah. So my son didn't want to. I can talk about this. He didn't really want to go to his dad's. So, which is fine. He's 22, and he's gone there for a while, and I was like just gauging my own reaction because of the control I felt around it. Like I really wanted him to go, but it wasn't about him. It was about me, because that's like this sacred time and blah blah blah, and I felt like myself resisting on every level. And I wanted to tell him it was terrible. And then I'm like, wait a minute, what am I even saying? He doesn't, if he doesn't feel it, he doesn't have to go. But it shot me a bunch of messages that I do enjoy that space, and I'm going to own that. Like I like the time, but also, with someone with a disability like that, it's easier to force them kind of to do stuff that's just not okay.
Right.
And so that's what I'm recognizing, that sometimes it's not like I don't know, like a typical kid might fight back more. Like, no way, I'm not going, but I don't know.
Yeah, and our kids are like our biggest mirrors too. So.
Yeah.
And they're the closest to us, like even my 6-year-old, and they pick up everything. So he's doing things, and I'm like, no, don't do that. And then I realize, I do that.
I know.
So then it teaches me, I really need to look at that.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's what your situation is, but that's my everyday.
It is. Yeah, it's like this. I want to say corrector. Whew, you better. Yeah, it's quick. It's quick. Yeah, our kids, and you've got young kids. Well, a young kid and a. Yeah, that's a whole different thing.
14. I get my 14-year-old helps me a lot.
Yeah.
So he's very mature for his age.
I bet.
I see other friends and they're juggling 3-4-year-olds. Well, not 3-4-year-olds, but in that age range from 5 to 10.
It's insanity.
It's a lot. I couldn't imagine having 2 of Jaden. Because he's got so much energy. And to keep him entertained. And then do my stuff.
And go to work in the middle of the night.
And then work at night.
Yeah, he does. I can feel that from him. He's smart.
Yeah,
he's thinking. He's curious.
He's always telling me about his ancient self.
No way.
That's what he says. Yeah, I'll have to bring him, like, let you talk to him about it. But yeah, he tells me about his ancient self and like what he used to do. And a lot of it makes sense. And I'm like,
We
where are
should
you
have me and
getting
Jack
this?
talk sometime. Sorry, I cut you
Yeah.
off.
No, you're good.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, Jack loves kids. So yeah, I can see that, like, they could talk about that stuff. I wonder if it would spark anything in Jack, because his ancient. So go back to that. He talks about his ancient life.
Yeah, his ancient, yeah. When he was, I don't know, I'd have to like have you talk to him because it's in his kid
His
talk,
wording.
but, and at first I was just like, yeah, maybe he's just making stuff up. But then I start seeing like other kids are talking like this too. And it's not just, a lot of that's my programming too, probably, because I second guess a lot of my own stuff.
Oh, tell me. Yeah, that's cool though. I think back on my own childhood and some of the experiences that I'm remembering, like my imaginative play. I know it was more than just linear. It was more than that. I feel like when I feel back into it now. But just our kids, like the stuff they say, like that they're more tapped in to the metaphysical than I am. That's for sure. And yeah, like I was saying about Jack, like listening to him when he started talking about this stuff, like at first I brushed it off. Like he kept telling me about seeing this lady in this church where I went to meetings, and I was like, yeah, whatever, just because I was so like, I wasn't really in the space where I thought that I could even, like, I don't know. And also, maybe because he has a disability, I thought, well, he's making that up. So it's great to see that you have that understanding and can hold space for Jaden.
Yeah. Because Evan did a lot of that too, but I was in a similar state as you were just talking about. So my programming and where I was at didn't allow me to help him with that. So some of it got shut down, which is coming back now. And I think being Jaden around has helped Evan too, because he's been able to kind of relive things that he didn't get to relive or to experience whenever he was that age, because of either my addiction or losing his father, and
Yeah.
so it's helped a lot too.
How
He's
beautiful.
opened yeah. Jaden's a little healer, and I mean, it was contracted, but he's amazing. Well, all my kids are.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're awake now to like guide them and to be guided by them, because yeah, like we were saying, my kids are like the teachers. They teach me all the time.
Right.
Yeah. What else do I have to say about that? But yeah, the psychic stuff. I'm more attuned to, like, if my daughter says she has a dream or something, I want to hear about it, and I'm like trying to analyze it, and probably should just listen. But yeah, I wish that I don't regret anything, but I didn't have, my mom and whatnot, of course, didn't have that kind of awareness. But anyways.
Yeah, my grandma has prophetic dreams, but she kind of wants to turn them off.
Oh, really?
Because she says it's Satan. Yeah, and I'm learning a lot more with what
Satan.
with the Jehovah Witness and stuff. I'm learning a lot more why she did that, because you're completely cut off, like everything you've ever known, because you build your whole existence in this religion. And then if you go against that, that's everything. That's not, it's not just one thing, it's your entire life you're shunned, So there's so much fear behind that. So to even look at that as a truth is difficult for her. There's so much fear and resistance because she'll be shunned, She's been
That's
in there
huge.
for, since 1970.
That's, yeah, I can't imagine. I can't imagine. I think, like, I went through the more conservative Christianity, which is not to that extreme. Like, that's a step beyond. It's really cult. Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny because I had a friend that was a Jehovah's Witness in high school that was one of my runner friends, and I'd go to her family's house, and they were really, like, I remember that there was just, I felt like there was just something just a little off, but the picture looked nice, you know, like they were making a pretty picture, but there was this energy there that, and I knew a little bit about Jehovah's Witness from my dad because he was like, oh, that's a cult, you know, that's,
Yeah.
so, wow. I think it's interesting that you went through that. That's, and wow, your grandma. I mean, and that's so deep. Like, I don't know. I'm just
It's
jabbing
really
on.
hard because they're really good people. Like my grandmother, she just wants to help. You know what I mean? But there's so much hatred towards herself. It gets projected on everyone else with the judgment, but she really is. She's a really good person. And I feel like there's so much past life trauma that she won't even like recognize that there's even past life, let alone that there's trauma from the past life. You know, so it's very difficult for her dealing with all that. And then on top of that, the religion, it's just like keeps you stuck.
Yeah.
You know, and you can't
Yeah.
question anything else. And it's tying right into all the other agendas that are out there. Like it's all connected.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like there's so many tentacles to it. Yeah. I feel that. I feel that. That's,
Mind
yeah.
control. Jaden.
Yeah. You know, and it's like they're using spirit to make it even more, like I was going to say, kind of like the inverted systems, but they don't necessarily use spirit right now. I mean, it's there, but like there's not that overlay of like, it's just like everything. Like you're tied in and tethered in every way.
Yep. Well, in every aspect of your life, because everything my grandma has done, down to the plumbing or the sink that was put in her new house, these are all Jehovah Witness people, you know? So that's her whole network, other than like me. But technically, she's like kind of embarrassed of me, so I don't come around, and like they don't know that I come there.
Really?
You know?
Wow.
Pretty sure, because.
But that, to give that up, it's like, you know, when I went into treatment for addiction, like I had to change, like drop, like just my whole life kind of had to change, but it wasn't that like that. It wasn't like that. So I can relate to a little bit like that, just like almost like fear and horror of that experience, and how hard it must be to even like take a little peek behind the curtain. It's cool that she has you though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just talking to my cousin about all this, because her mother is my grandma's sister. I guess she's my aunt, technically. I don't know. I consider my cousin because my grandmother's like my mom. So we were just talking about this, and I was telling her, like, I just don't get it because they're such good people. Like my Aunt Gay, like, they were there for me when no one else was there for me. When I went into treatment and all that stuff. Like, they were there. They were there when I was in the hospital, you know. So, but then they want me to join their religion. And I'm not, you know.
Yes, it's almost like my mother's mother was super, like, born again. So they're always working that angle to get you to do the altar call and, you know, to turn your life over to Jesus. And it sounds mild, and but they're beautiful, like that. They're beautiful people with like good intentions and just
Yeah.
twisted. Yeah, it's so hard. It's so hard to come out of that. I mean, when I was, I went to Christian college, and that was, like you didn't have sex before you were married, like really extreme rules that you have to sign off on. So then, most of the kids end up breaking the rules. And so then you already are feeling, major guilt and shame. And it's just like locking it in. So.
They were talking about like MK mind control, like
yeah.
in the congregation. And a lot of that really, like, I was like reverting back to like my childhood and watching some of it. And like, it makes a lot of sense, like a lot of the programming that I have. And not only just from that, but from watching my grandma, because that's the only functional person I ever knew. So I modeled what I was doing after her. And a lot of it, looking back, hindsight, it was sick. Like
what? Can you give an example?
Self-destructive, like doing everything for everyone else and not myself, or it's like that, like the whole like giving
suppressing
everything and not taking care of me, like I'm not supposed to have feelings. And a lot of it was her generation too.
True.
But
I was just going to say,
exacerbated by the whole religion.
Totally. Yeah.
And then it's backwards, because now I know what Christ really is and what the man came here to bring, and it's not what Christianity has become at all. It's very
funny because
it's inverted to like fit one. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, I cut you off. It's you're exactly right. It's like to fit whatever need at the time it can be twisted into, when it's like the exact opposite of, like, it's all externalized when the message is that it's all in here. And my dad knew that. Like he knew that so deeply, that, we are the visible expression of the invisible God. And like I learned those things like at such an early age. But there was just, again, people just get trauma. There's just so much trauma that comes in and perverts the message, So despite the fact that I had this pure message, he wasn't a pure person. Of course, he was pure. Everybody is. But he had the trauma, that he hadn't worked through that impacted me. So I have this beautiful message, but it's like intertwined with all this, like, some of the stuff I've shared with you, like some early childhood stuff that's been hard to see. But I'm so glad that I have the perspective that, the soul contracts, and because I feel like it's been the biggest teacher for me, But all that to say, the mind F is just crazy. And Jehovah's Witness, damn, I give you credit.
It's right on par with Scientology and Freemasonry. They're all the same controllers.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Denominations.
The woman the psychic that we went to see yesterday, her father was Christian Scientist, and they believe in, I'm not going to try to say what they believe in, but they don't see doctors at all. They believe that the body can heal, and there's been some like legal cases and whatnot. And she explained it beautifully, how she saw that and I don't know. I mean, I know that my dad had a lot of questions about that particular branch of Christianity, but I'm not sure what my point was there, but just that you brought up the Scientology, and that's not the same thing as Christian Scientist. I don't think.
No. They're like atheists.
They're atheists. Okay.
Like,
Christian
Scientists. They
Scientists
don't even recognize children as like children, because they see them as like, because they believe in reincarnation, so they believe like that's not a child. But it's basically communism is what they do. You know, they turn
Yeah.
everyone against each other. So everyone's ratting each other out. It's all twisted though.
Yeah, when we do our show, this will be a good topic. And my friend Nina, that also I met on Lori, she was in a cult in California for 10 years. And wow, she's got we've talked a lot about it. Just how it just slowly morphs into this like twisted thing, and you just kind of slide, like a frog in a frying pan. So,
Right.
and coming out of it, yeah, really interesting. And awakening, I guess. Yeah. So I guess, I don't want to stay on too long. I got to see what is going on in my household. But I wanted to ask you, at what point did you start, like, questioning the Jehovah's, when did
I
you...
questioned it from the beginning.
Oh, you did from the... Okay, you
And that
probably
was like
said that.
a big problem because I'm like Jaden's age, questioning why things are. And my other grandmother took me to like Baptist church, and I went to Catholic, so I knew other
That one is restricted.
aspects of God. But yeah, so I had a lot of questions, and I was taught very young to keep my mouth shut, not to have an opinion, and just, this is the truth,
Yeah.
And I never conformed to it, and that was the problem the whole time. I was always this dysfunctional person in their eyes, but really I was just free.
Makes
And I mean, it
total
turned
sense.
into dysfunction because of the depression, shunning, and all that. But for the most part, I was a free person.
Your light was like bright, like they wanted to put it down.
Yeah. And my grandma's is too.
Really,
And I found out,
despite it all, despite all that, all those years, they couldn't keep her. But you found out what?
Oh, her blood type and stuff. I'll talk to you about that
Okay.
later, though.
Yeah. All right, you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, because I don't think he's going to allow for me to have any quiet. But we're going to do a live tomorrow, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be in touch. Love you.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye.